News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Fatal police shooting justified. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Tuesday, March 10th, 2015. Right now we have a clear sky, 27 degrees in Missoula. And our newscast is sponsored by Dig It Excavating. They bring 30 years of excavation excellence to every job. The number to call, 214-4292. Today's top story. The coroner's inquest into the fatal shooting of Caleb Williams on New Year's Eve concluded yesterday, with the jury finding that the shooting by Corporal Paul Kelly was justified. On the stand, Corporal Kelly described what happened before he fired the fatal shot.
As the screaming got louder, it was apparent that she was being injured or killed, is what I believed. He was cutting her throat. I knew that I could not just shoot rounds through the door. I knew the hostage was there, and I had to stop that threat as quickly as I could and as safely as I could to that hostage. So it did take me a couple seconds, but I was able to steady my handgun. I did take the shot at that point in time, knowing full well that it was going through a window.
Renan Williams, the young man's mother, said in her view, her son should not have had to die at the hands of a police officer.
But does that mean that my son should be murdered? No, I don't believe that for a second. I think there are other means of taking care of something. And if you can see somebody from the shoulder, that's where you shoot. You don't shoot right behind the ear, right into the skull. My son was dead on impact. Dead. I've never seen my son on this earth again.
Chief Deputy Missoula County Attorney Jason Marks said after listening to testimony from witnesses, police officers, and a detective from the Sheriff's Department that he concurred with the coroner's jury.
Under the circumstances that Officer Kelly found himself in at that moment, I would concur with the jury that the shooting was legally justified.
Marks did say the Williamses might pursue the case in civil court, but as far as his office is concerned, the matter was closed. House Minority Leader Chuck Hunter says the Republican-led committee trying to kill the Medicaid expansion bill abused its power during a hearing. Hunter said on the House floor yesterday the House Human Services Committee and Chairman Art Whittick prevented committee members from debating or amending the bill, which violates House rules. After a 6.5-hour hearing on Friday, committee members voted along party lines to recommend representatives vote against House Bill 249 when it reaches the House floor next week. House Speaker Austin Knudsen of Culbertson said Hunter's objection was noted, and a spokeswoman said that's the end of it. Over the weekend, a small grass fire broke out near Missoula's Mount Jumbo. Missoula Fire Department Assistant Chief Chad Nicholson describes what happened.
It started right off the freeway, east of the Van Buren exit, and just west of the East Missoula exit. We were able to catch the fire before it got too far up the hill. Where we are right now before green up, people have to be really careful with fire. And we don't know if somebody pulled over there and started it with hot exhaust. We couldn't find any evidence of what started the fire.
Nicholson said the early spring has led to more than one earlier than normal grass fire.
This time of the year, it is a little earlier than normal. But with these nice days, along with that fire, of course, we'd had several permitted fires that people had started that got away from them. And so, before green up comes, people just really got to be careful when they're starting fires. They don't realize that all the brown grass dries out real quick.
Nicholson says there have been at least 3 out-of-control planned burns in Missoula County already. Speaking of fires, there may be some wildfire smoke or forest fire smoke hovering over the mountains west of Missoula today. Lolo National Forest spokesman Boyd Hartwig explains.
Well, the Missoula District, if conditions permit, they're going to burn up to maybe 87 acres in the Blue Mountain area. Burn location is near the Hayes Creek area, kind of maybe a little north of there. It's beyond the gated road, so traffic and stuff will be behind a closed gate, but we could have recreation folks up there. Mountain bikers certainly go up that far.
Hartwig says prescribed burns help the local ecosystem.
A lot of these burns reduce fuels and improve forage for wildlife and that sort of thing. There's always an ecosystem component to what we do, and if we can reduce fuels and do things like improve wildlife habitat in the spring and fall, then it makes sense to do that.
The burn will likely start this morning if wind speeds are safe and if conditions are right for helping to dissipate that smoke. A dog that bit a 2-year-old Hungry Horse boy in the face has been euthanized. KTMF television reports the boy was attacked inside the home of a friend of his mother's on Wednesday. He underwent surgery to repair the damage and was released from the hospital Friday. Sheriff Chuck Curry said the owner surrendered the dog and it was taken to the animal shelter where it was euthanized on Friday. Cascade County Division of the Montana Republican Party has censured one of its most senior representatives for proposing legislation that could protect the state's open primaries. George Paul, chairman of the Cascade County Republican Central Committee, filed the complaint on Monday against Representative Steve Fitzpatrick, a Great Falls Republican in his third term. The party decided last June to join a lawsuit against the state's open primary system. The Cascade Committee voted last week to censure Fitzpatrick for sponsoring House Bill 454, which would allow party officers to be appointed or elected in closed primaries. Montana Attorney General Tim Fox is closely watching several bills his office is helping to shepherd through the legislature. Spokesman John Barnes said some of those bills will help law enforcement deal with the problem of DUI in Montana.
Really take on the issue of repeat DUI in Montana. This is a real problem here. Driving under the influence of alcohol is in many ways culturally acceptable. Unfortunately, people die every year as a result of this on our highways.
Barnes said the urgency over these bills comes from the people who are closest to the problem.
Our highway patrol troopers, they're the ones who have to clean off the blood and the bodies off the pavement. And they see the destroyed lives, the destroyed property because that happens as a result of DUI. And so we take this issue very seriously.
Several of the bills Fox is watching have already been signed into law by Governor Bullock. For the second week in a row, Missoula gas prices have advanced by nearly a dime. Petroleum analyst Patrick Dehan has more.
We're expecting the increases to cool down in the week ahead, thanks to moderation in wholesale gas prices. Montana is the third cheapest state in the country at $2.19 a gallon. Only Wyoming and South Carolina are cheaper, both of those states averaging $2.14 a gallon.
Montana's price usually trails the national average by about 2 weeks and is expected to flatten out soon. And the Sears store and its auto center at Southgate Mall here in Missoula are closing in mid-June. KECI Television is reporting the store will begin its liquidation sale April 3rd. Southgate Mall manager Tim Winter told the Missoulian newspaper the mall has purchased Sears' real estate. The store and auto center have 57 employees. The Sears store and its auto center at Holiday Village Mall in Great Falls closed late last year, while the Kmart in Bozeman closed earlier this year. Our News Talk time now is 6:10.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Plenty of sunshine today with our high temperatures topping out in the low 60s. Partly cloudy tonight with our lows in the mid-30s. Increasing clouds on Wednesday with an isolated shower. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.